Graham?
Yes?
Let's go back in time and look at the best bits of the night. Please, come inside my box.
I've waited here all my life. Oh.
Best actor goes to
David Tennant.
What a tough category you're in as well, isn't it? Doctor Who, and that's been pulled up with there with his shirt off. He's been scything. He's been doing all that. You aced it. You beat him.
No, I'm going to take my shirt off in Series 3 just to capitalise and make sure I get this next time.
First of all, happy it's Doctor Who Day, which I will admit I did not know. I was informed of this.
I think some people here knew that
They
already.
knew that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm very happy to hear this, because you were the 10th Doctor.
Yeah.
And you were a fan of Doctor Who.
Oh, I grew up absolutely
I think that's
obsessed
great,
with it.
because sometimes, you'll have... certainly when people are doing stuff that's adapted from the world of sci-fi or comic books, a lot of times, I'll have guests who are entering that world, and I'll say, did you read comics? And they'll say, no, but since I got the part, I've read them, and it's great. But that's not as much fun.
Fly-by-nights.
Fly-by-nights,
yeah.
And this is great, though. You met your wife on the set of Doctor Who. Is that right? Now, she is the daughter of the 5th Doctor Who?
Yeah, it's quite complicated.
It is very much like a Doctor Who plot point.
Yeah, it is.
So how did you meet her? What was she
played
playing?
the Doctor's daughter.
Okay. So you married...
Which means, strictly speaking, she was playing my daughter. But it's not as creepy as it sounds. Because I was playing a 900-and-something-year-old alien.
Right.
Who didn't look a day over 35. And she was genetically created in a machine from a scratch on my hand.
Oh, you're right. This doesn't sound weird at all. You're making it way better.
No, it makes perfect sense. But yes, her dad is also he was the Doctor that I watched when I was growing up.
Oh, wow. That's really exciting.
It is quite weird, isn't it?
It is really weird.
I don't know what the chances of that.
As long as you guys are happy, let your freak flag fly.
In our strange little bubble.
So this was a fascinating, must have been fascinating for you. So Broadchurch, which is a great show, filmed in England, and then adapted here, Grace Point, and you play basically the same character, but you play it first.
Very nuanced in all sorts of
Very
different
nuanced.
ways.
No, of course. Yeah. I mean, unless you had seen one, you never would notice. What was, because I was surprised to hear what you thought the biggest difference between doing a show in England and doing a show in the States was.
Is craft service.
Craft service, the food on the set.
Yeah, which for anyone who's not in the industry is a whole thing that there's a whole department dedicated to snacks.
Yeah.
Because, man, this country knows about snacks.
We do.
I salute you. I absolutely... well done.
We do. We're the kings.
In the UK, on a film set, around, mid-morning, someone comes around with a tin of biscuits. Cookies, as you'd call them. A tin of cookies. And if you're lucky and they come to you before they go around the lighting boys, you might get one.
One cookie.
And that's it. That's your snacks for the morning. In the US, there's a department. There's the craft service department. And they will set up a table of stuff, and there's sandwiches, and there's donuts, and there's all sorts of cookies and chips and Coke and coffee.
And they'll walk around.
It's amazing.
Mozzarella stick.
Yeah, and wherever you go. So on Jessica Jones, we filmed at the top of skyscrapers. We filmed down alleys that stank of urine. We, and before you get there, Sue's there with her craft service truck, ready to go. Because if you can't have coffee and a donut at any point during the day, then I think the unions get called.
Absolutely, yeah.
You guys have got your priorities straight.
No, absolutely. Well, this country is basically based on coffee and donut whenever you want it.
I love being here.
In the comics, he is quite literally the Purple Man.
Yes.
How relieved were you that you didn't have to be painted purple every single day?
Well, there was about a day between first hearing about this and then having a conversation with Melissa Rosenberg and Jeff Loeb to sort of get an idea of what was being talked about. So for 24 hours, I was thinking, am I going to be painted purple every day? Until Jeff and Melissa told me that wasn't their intention. I did wonder. I thought for about a week that would probably be really good fun. By about week 4, I'd probably wanted to kill myself. 4 a.m. in the makeup wagon, being hosed down with purple makeup.
If you would have the power just for one day to control other people's minds like Kilgrave did, so what would you do?
Well, you'd have to sort North Korea out, wouldn't you? You'd have to get stuck into ISIS. You'd need to do a bit of that. You'd need to do a bit of... and then you'd probably need to get some free stuff, I imagine.
And for example, in England, maybe with Prime Minister Cameron?
There's lots of things I'd like to say to David Cameron.
Are you a binge watcher, though? I mean, you know that sort of expression, Netflix and chill. Do you indulge in a bit of Netflix and chill?
It sort of depends what else is going on, you know. But there is something delicious about finishing an episode of something and being so desperate to see the next one and just, you know, thinking, wow, it's just what's one more hour. There is something that's quite fun about it.
I have to say, though, that my version of Netflix and chill, I didn't realise my producer just said that means fucking. Story to imply that do you indulge in a bit of sex?
Say that on the internet?
Oh, yeah, you can say whatever you want.
Can you?
But I realised...
Does it really?
It does, but I just thought it meant binge watching.
So
Apparently
did I.
it means fucking. God. So I just asked you if you indulge in fucking.
How does that interact with your Netflix watching? I don't understand. I'm confused.
But it depends, I guess, what you're watching.
We need an expert on the Urban Dictionary to come in and explain this to us.
Can someone help? I don't know. Have people around on false pretenses, I suppose, come around for a Netflix and chill.
Oh, it sounds rather dark and sinister suddenly.
Kill gravy.
I would like to remove Netflix from this as an employee and a great aficionado and promoter of the brand. I don't know what's going on anymore.
Hi, it's Jessica. I'm Sequence Fairy on Twitter, and I just wanted to ask David what the most challenging part of playing Kilgrave was for him. And I also wanted to just tell him how much I enjoy watching him in everything, and I really can't wait for Friday. It's my birthday present from Marvel. Thanks so much, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Why was she talking so quietly? What had happened there? Was she supposed to be at work? What was going on behind that strange partition wall? I want to know, Sequence Fairy. That's fascinating. That's presented a lot more questions than the one she actually asked, which I've immediately forgotten. What was the question again?
Nervous going into another Shakespeare. That, you know, will it be as good? Will it be received as well? Will you kind of, you know, get into that character as well as you had before? Do you get nervous?
Yeah, of course. I get nervous all the time. I think that's part of my state of being, and I think there's clearly, you know, I've come to accept at these many years that I've now been in the business, I've come to accept that clearly there's part of me that requires that, or that is chasing that a bit. Even though when I get there, I think, why am I doing this? Like on the first night of something like Hamlet, and you're standing backstage, you think, why did I think this was a good idea? This is just horrible and terrifying, and I mean, it's the levels of terror that you know, the sort of the pains in the stomach, the panic attacks. It's ghastly.
Do you get panic attacks?
Well, I get pretty close. I've been known to be squatting on a dressing room floor, sort of breathing into a paper bag, thinking, why am I here? But that's part of it. There's obviously part of me that needs that, and that's looking for the next challenge and the next different thing to do. So. Yeah, so I don't quite know what's on my bucket list until I see it, I suppose.
It's an interesting part of you, by the way, squatting and breathing into a paper bag.
Oh, I spend most of my day hiding under tables. This is rare to get me out, squinting at the sun.
There is a paper bag somewhere, though, just in case you need it.
Yeah.
Got to keep it.
There has to be one on hand at all times. In my right.
You met your wife as well.
I did, yeah.
On Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first interaction you had with her on the set?
Well, maybe.
You got to remember that, surely. That's got to be one for the annals.
Of course I do. But you know, these are not necessarily things that need to be shared on the World Wide Web.
Well, on live stream. But you know, who broached who first? I
couldn't possibly download this information. It was very lovely, and I'm not going to go into the secret details of our relationship.
Well, I'm just imagining that you were squatting in a paper bag sort of situation. I mean, how would that have worked?
No, I kept the paper bags quiet for a while. I thought I'd come across all sort of, you know, windswept and interesting until I revealed the paper bag. What am I talking about?
Thank you for your time. Again, I'm really looking forward to Jessica Jones.
What's Nicole doing? One of your listeners is hiding behind a wall, and Nicole, what is just knocking out a question on her driving to the supermarket? What's going on?
I think she's in the passenger seat.
Is she?
I think so. We usually tell them to not...
Do not drive, and send questions into Huffington Post Live at the same time. That's not recommended. Marvellous. You've got some great viewers.
We do. We love our viewers,
What was our question again?
Would you consider doing Broadway?
No. Next question. No, of course. No, I'd love to. But it's always just finding the right moment, the right opportunity.
We do have clarification from Sequence Fairy, by the way, as to
Okay.
why she
Why
was
she was
so
whispering.
quiet. She says, I'm at work, that's why I'm so quiet.
That doesn't really tell us the full story. Who are you hiding from? Where are you working? What's behind the partition walls?
Well, she can't say where she's working. It'll out her to her bosses.
What, is that why she's hiding behind the name Sequence Fairy? Not the name she was christened with, I suspect.
If you could offer
I named this child Sequence.
If you could offer some clarifications,
Yeah, come on,
that would be
Sequence.
delightful.
Tell your boss we need to speak to you. Get on the line.
Another very serious question for you coming in from Periscope. Would you play James Bond?
Who is Periscope?
Periscope is a streaming
Again,
platform.
not the name they were born with, I suspect.
Would you play James Bond?
I don't think the part's on offer, funnily enough. I think it's been rather successfully handled by someone called Daniel Craig. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's quite well known. He's doing quite well.
If you could arm wrestle Daniel Craig to get the Bond
If
title.
I could arm wrestle Daniel Craig, I'd lose. I'm fairly certain of that.
But seriously, I mean, he's sort of...
Why are you serious? It's never going to happen.
He's indicated...